to the Covered Podcast. I am your host, Mya-Karren, and on this show, we discuss women and how we are showing up in the world. Today's guest, I am so excited, as usual. It is Sharita Payton. She is the woman behind the model on the Shark Silky Pro box. Her incredible work has also been highlighted in USAL. Sharita has styled the hair of Karen Parsons, we all know her as Hillary, for various events and interviews, including the inspiring Texture Takes the Stage. Additionally, she has contributed her artistry to the Shark Flex style launch in Soho. Beyond her professional achievements, Sharita is a dedicated wife, mother, entrepreneur, and educator. Please welcome Sharita Payton.
Thank
Hi,
you.
how are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited about this interview. I am super excited. Thank you so much.
Of course, of course. So how I found you is I did a video reviewing the new Shark Silky Pro, and you told me that you were actually on the set and you were the hairstylist, correct?
Correct. That's correct.
Absolutely. So I always like to start from the beginning. We will get there, but I do want to talk about your journey and then bring it back to this moment. So just starting out from childhood, when is your, or what is your fondest memory, or when do you remember that you had a love for hair and you liked doing it?
Sure. So I started out really early on with the love for hair. I would say early because I started with my Barbie dolls.
Of course.
And so I was maybe 5. And I was obsessed with everything hair related, including my own, even though I didn't love it. And we'll talk about that. But I just loved working on hair texture, anything that I could get anyone or anything that I can get my hands into that was hair related. I was doing it. I can recall in the 5th grade, actually, because I have a photo which I shared with you, I had braided my hair. And I would often braid my hair. I want to say I started around the 4th grade. So I might have been like 9 or 10, and I was adding extensions into my hair. It was something that I was experimenting on my own. No one ever taught me how to braid. I just started. I would find old hair from my grandmother,
Oh my
her
goodness.
closet, because she would braid her hair and she would use what we would call human hair. And so, like, there would be hair just in random places in her drawer. And so I would take the hair back home with me and I would use it to braid my hair. And I would say in the beginning, it was a little tough because I was young. I didn't really know what I was doing. So I would show up to school. And true story, depending on how the question was asked, that would determine the answer that I would give. And so sometimes my classmates would be like, oh, like your hair looks ugly, like it's bad, like who did it? And I would be like, my grandmother, even though grandma didn't do it. So I always apologize to her. I'm like, Grandma, I am so sorry I put you out there like that. But there would also be some questions sometimes like, oh my goodness, your hair looks so good. Who did it? And then, of course, I would say, I did it.
I did it.
And so I would be getting more and more of those, wow, your hair looks good. Who did it? And yeah, that's pretty much how it started.
I love that. So that was elementary school.
Yeah.
Take me to high school because I know for some, I believe they refer to it as vocational school. I believe when it comes to 12th grade in some high schools, I think it's either first semester or second semester, you can actually start taking cosmetology classes. Is this how you were introduced to cosmetology school, or did you have to graduate high school and then you decided to go to cosmetology school?
So I did. I did start out at a vocational school. And my mother was very instrumental in making sure I got in because it is definitely lottery based. I'm not sure how they do it now, but we did have to submit an application. And my mom, she didn't drive or anything like that. I remember her getting the application, going to the school, and then coming back, filling the application out for me, and then bringing it back to the school on the bus to make sure that I got into the school because she knew how passionate I was about hair. And so it was like, that was just it was a no-brainer. Like, this is exactly where I want to be. This is where I want to go. And so sure enough, we got in. And so 9th grade, I started Bullard Havens Technical High School in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Wow. Okay. So the vocational school was your entire high school. So you didn't have to like,
Yes.
because my son's girlfriend, her 12th grade year, she actually drove to a cosmetology school off campus. But
Wow.
you went to a vocational school.
Starting in the 9th grade. And it would be split. Obviously, you would have your educational academic courses, and then you would
Yes.
have your technical side of it. And it would be split kind of 50-50.
Okay.
But I started in the ninth grade.
Okay. And then you went all the way to the 12th grade. So by 12th grade, were like the curriculum, did you have to have certain hours and then you go for your state board, or was it just an introduction? Then you go to cosmetology school and then you go to the state board. Can you kind of break that down for us?
Yeah, so we did have to have a certain amount of hours. It varies depending on the state that you're in. Before I graduated high school, I was licensed. I
Okay. So
was a
you,
licensed cosmetology before I graduated high school. So my mid senior year, I was able to take my state board and passed it. And so I was licensed before I left high school.
wow. So what, so you went to the state board, you got your cosmetology license, and then you could just go into a shop and begin working.
I was working in a shop in the ninth grade.
The vocational school did that for you? That was a part of the program?
Well, yeah, because we were in school, and so you could count the. I can't remember if they were counted hours, but I worked as an assistant, and it was okay as long as I got the approval from my instructor. So yeah, in the ninth grade, I was working in hair salons
Okay, so kind
up
of like
until senior
shadowing.
year.
Okay, so kind of like shadowing or maybe like a residency if you were like medical school.
Yes.
Okay, I absolutely love that. And we will get into this a little bit later on because I did not know that. While you were in your vocational school, what was the attitude? And you have said before, and we will talk about the article, not necessarily you didn't love or embrace your natural hair. While you were in vocational school, what was the attitude from just students to instructors and teachers surrounding natural hair?
So there wasn't a lot of discussion
Okay,
around as far as the academics or um, the educational side. It was more from our peers,
okay.
the natural hair and like doing our own hair or kind of working on each other. But back in, this is 90s. And so there definitely was a lot of textured conversation. There was like one section in the book, and it might have been like one page. It talked about braiding, but a lot of the coursework was more so like permanent waves rods, like chemical services, roller sets, and things of that sort. But there was really no conversation about natural hair besides, again, us as students working on one another.
That's interesting. So you were in vocational school in the 90s. I spoke to Jennifer Lord. She is the woman behind Regina King's 2025 Met Gala look. And she went to, I want to say, cosmetology school for the second time in like 2019, 2020. And she said that basically the education that they got was they talked about natural hair, but it was more so removing the texture from the natural
Right.
hair. And now I'm hearing you say in the 90s that it was just a one pager and it was just more
Pretty
so
much.
talking about braiding.
Yeah. Obviously relaxers and chemicals
Right.
was a huge part of that, but very, very small section at that time.
Okay. So you graduate, you're 18, you're loving life, you have your license. I heard you say that you did open your studio in 2014. So before that, what were you doing with your cosmetology license before you opened up your own salon?
Yeah, so like I said, I started when I was in the ninth grade. I worked for a older woman. She had a salon, very old school. We were doing finger waves and all the things. But I was looking for something a little bit more modern, a little bit more elevated. And there was a salon that was walking distance from my house. It was what we would call like an upscale beauty salon, Black owned, and some of the top hairstylists, they were working at this hair salon. And so, of course, I was like, I have to get in. Didn't know how I was going to get in. But actually, the owner of the salon had come to our school because it was a vocational school. A lot of salons would come and look for assistants. And so she came at the time, she really wanted to hire two, but she ended up hiring three. And I was one of those assistants that she had hired. And I remember just being so happy and just, happy to be a part of her salon. The type of salon aesthetics that she was going for was a multicultural salon. And again, she hired three of us, but really she really needed two. And so I remember being there, a little kind of shy and timid. And I ended up getting fired from the salon because she didn't really need me. And so I remember her calling me into her office and, obviously telling me how much she appreciated me, but she was letting me go. I remember going home and falling across my bed and bawling my eyes out because I was so sad because this is really what I wanted to be doing. I wanted to be there. Again, there was some great hairstylists that was already there that helped to mentor me and pour into me. And so that was kind of like my first like heartbreak, like in the hair salon. But I've had other, great experiences. And I might be jumping ahead, but when I did open my salon, she became a client of mine, the salon owner who had fired me.
Oh, wow.
So
She became a client.
she became a
Okay.
client of mine.
Was
Yeah.
she looking to transition? Was she relaxed, natural?
At that time, she was relaxed. And this was because we're still going back. Because
Right.
remember, this was like still in the maybe early 2000s. I had a salon in Connecticut before my salon in 2014.
Okay.
And so that is where she became a client of mine. And at that time, I was doing everything.
Okay, so the salon before the one in 2014 in Medford, you said that you were doing everything. So was it more what were clients coming to you for? Was it more so like chemical processing, relaxers? Okay.
Yes, I
We're
was
still
doing
very early on
relaxers.
before the
I was
natural hair
doing
movement.
extensions. I was doing silk presses. I was doing updos with hair, without hair, coloring services. Pretty much it was very well versed, everything we offered at the salon originally in 2014.
Okay. So your why, and I want to pull up the article because I want to make sure that I am quoting you correctly.
Okay.
Um, it says in a news article from the Huffington Post or from the Huffington News, it is actually dated February 9th of 2022. In the article, it states your studio, the one that we're talking about now, is in Medford, Massachusetts. Your salon is the only one that caters to natural hair. This was in 2022. To your knowledge, is this still true?
No, there definitely are more now. And, at the time when we made the transition to specifically just focus on natural textured hair, um, there were salons that were doing, again, kind of doing what I was doing, a little bit of everything, but there was no salon that I can say that I knew of that was specifically working on natural textured hair only. Like no relaxers, no changing the hair texture or anything like that, or even straightening to be fair, because at that time we weren't offering any of those things. So specifically focused on just natural hair, helping women, men, anyone to embrace their natural texture. To my knowledge, there wasn't anyone in Medford.
Okay. And also, just like I want to be clear, you're referring to natural hair in its natural state. So, like whether it's a
Yes,
wash and go, twist out, mini twist, mini braids.
on those things. Yes.
Okay. Also, in this article, it says, or you said, I always wanted a sleek look, so I wore weaves and extensions because I wasn't comfortable wearing my own hair. It says the shift came when I had my daughter because I knew she would grow up and do what mommy did. She'd want to do the same things as me. So this is the part that we were talking about a little bit earlier when you yourself, you were not embracing your natural hair, but you also found that when you had your daughter, you wanted to make sure that she loved herself. You started doing the research, and that's when you started to embrace and love your natural hair. Can you kind of just walk me through the discovery phase and how that made you feel?
Sure. So originally, again, we had the salon back in Connecticut. We relocated to Massachusetts, and so at that time, when we moved to Massachusetts, my daughter Sierra was about 4 years old, and I was still straightening my hair. I never really relaxed my hair, but I was straightening my hair. And when I kept looking at her and her beautiful hair, I'm just like, I know um, there's going to be some challenges, especially because where we relocated, predominantly everyone did not look like her. They were Caucasian. And so she might have been, majority of the time, one or two of the only Black individuals in her classroom. And so I'm like, if she's going to get the love, the admiration, is going to come from home first. I'm not going to expect anyone to tell her that her hair looks beautiful outside because she's not going to get it. And so I was very intentional about pouring into her and learning, because I want to say when I first started, it was more about styling the hair for me. I didn't really have the scientific knowledge on really how to take care of the hair and care for the hair from the inside out. And so that's something that I had to learn because now I had time, moved to a whole different state. I don't own my salon anymore. I'm starting from the beginning. So I started going to the library and just doing so much research while I'm trying to help her embrace her hair. It's like I began to fall in love with my hair, right? Still a journey at this time, but much more knowledgeable, was on long hair care forums, was following some of the big YouTubers back then, Natural 85, Kimmy Tube, and so I was definitely invested into helping her to love her hair.
I love that because in turn, it made you love your hair even more.
It did. It really did.
So, if it had not been for your daughter, do you think that you would have continued down your path, or do you think you eventually would have come to love and embrace your natural hair?
I think eventually, just because, natural hair has become more common just in general, right? Since the 90s, it was a different era. I always joke that um the LL Cool J song, right? It's like I need a girl with extensions in my hair, bamboo bearings, at least two pair, right? And that was me. I was going through that phase, right? But I think that, as more information became available, education resources, I do feel like I would have found my way, but I'm grateful that I was able to do it with her.
Okay. So you are in the new salon. Your clientele, because you said that you're doing exclusively natural styles and natural hair.
Yes.
Okay. When you first opened, what was the response? Were women kind of apprehensive? Were they coming to you trying to transition? Were they trying to get more into their natural hair? What was kind of like the environment in your
Okay.
salon?
So just to be clear, 2014, I started doing everything. So what happened was I transitioned my salon. I wrote a letter to my clients, and the letter pretty much said that I value each and every one of you, but I'm no longer going to be offering relaxers and anything that I felt like was compromising the texture of their natural hair. And
Oh
I
wow,
gave
you
them
wrote a
some,
letter.
I did.
You wrote a
I
letter.
gave them
Okay.
some recommendations, referrals on where they could go. And I also remember Curly Nikki. I had reached out to them to share that story, and it was a live article on there, and it was hairstylist gives a skinny on how she transitioned her salon from whatever relaxed to full natural. And so at first, I think some of the clients were like, "What?" Because I had a good amount of relaxed clients, right? But for me, I just felt like that wasn't the healthiest way to, take care of their hair. And I lost a couple, but I gained so many more after that.
And that was getting ready to be my next question. I know there were going to be some women out there, well, you know what, if you're not doing it anymore, I'm leaving. But I am so glad to hear that you actually had some clients follow you,
Oh
which
yeah,
means you helped them transition, right?
absolutely. I remember there was a client of mine. She's still a client of mine, and she was relaxing her hair, and she just found me. And she's like, "I'm relaxed, but I really want to be your client." And I was like, "I appreciate that, but I am no longer offering relaxed services." And so I'm like, honestly, it doesn't make sense for you to be my client because I can't provide the services that you desire." And she transitioned. She ended up no longer getting a relaxer. She was just here the other day, actually. And
Oh, wow.
we talked about that. She's like, "Yeah, I transitioned because Sharita wouldn't take me as a relaxed client." Yeah. So,
I absolutely love that. Okay, so a trending topic I'm pretty sure you're aware of. I think they're labeling it the saxophone is getting louder audio. I've seen a good 5 to 10 at this point now. There was one young woman with Dyson. She has since gone viral. I believe Dyson opened like a hair lab in the UK. She videotaped it. It is going mega viral. I am seeing a lot of women, whether it's in everyday life, salon, or on a set, who have natural hair, afro textured hair, or textured hair. They pull out their phone, and I want to be clear, there are also black stylists who do not know how to care for natural hair. That is people's gripes whenever I talk about that. I want to be clear. I've seen videos with black stylists as well. You are in the industry, you've had your own salon. I know you've seen them. Why do you think there is still such a huge gap when it comes to the care and the styling of natural hair?
So I can also speak to this from experience because I have been working on set, specifically with Shark Beauty since
Yes.
2021. And they hired me specifically just to focus on natural textured hair. That is what they
Okay.
hired me for.
Okay.
Originally, I wasn't using any flat irons or anything like that. It was really to just work on natural hair. And I really value that because they knew there was a need and that they weren't getting the care or maybe the looks that they knew that they should have, maybe from the individuals that they were working with on set already. And so they brought me in. Um, I think it starts from the top, definitely starts from the top, depending on the brand, depending on their knowledge and their appreciation and love for hair in general. I think that matters, right? It's like we're all not the same. There are some specific textures that need specific skills and specific care and love, right? And so I think it is important again because it starts from the top. Like, are they willing to invest or bring these individuals in, right? Doesn't matter the skin color of the individual, but are they skilled enough and care enough to take care of these models' hair? And so I was very fortunate to be able to come in and share the love that I have for textured hair on set. But I also want to share an experience where I was flown out to California to work on a specific model. And the producer's expectation for this model's hair was bone, sleek, straight. Her hair was textured. The goal for me was to focus just on her curls. They hired me again just for curls. I wasn't doing any straightening at the time. And uh, I did her curls. It was a 3-day shoot. Did her curls the first day. The second day, they were going to be transitioning because this specific tool was showing how you can go from curly to straight. And so they had hired individuals. I think that the producer may have known because there was some type of connection. And so the individuals who were going to be straightening her hair, they were doing it on day 2. So the model was getting her hair straightened. And I can just see all over her face, she was a little uncomfortable because she felt like her hair was being compromised, meaning that the heat might have been too hot, like there was smoke, there was multiple passes. And so she kept looking at me. And because the brand flew me out and I'm going to make sure that the individual was taken care of, I talked to the particular brand and let them know. And they immediately took her out of that individual's chair and put her into mine, even though I was not hired to straighten her hair. And so they're like, okay, no one is touching her hair but Sharita. Uh, yeah, yeah, that's how that went. But I had shared a photo because going back to the producer, she wanted her hair very sleek, straight. Now, this is in California. It is, I don't know, maybe July or August, and the shoot is near a swimming pool. And so if you think about textured hair, right, you're going to be
Right.
concerned about reversion.
That's not going
And
to last.
exactly. But the producer director at the time, she had said to me, like, I get it straight however you need to get it. Because when I had um, brought the model to her, it wasn't straight enough for her. And so I was like, well, we've already been putting enough heat in this model's hair. They started out with too much heat. So now I'm like trying not to put any more heat in her hair because that was her look was her natural curly hair, right? And so it's like if you mess her natural curly hair up, then she's gonna lose jobs. But anyway, so I made the decision to wrap her hair. I
Ah, okay.
wrapped her hair up because obviously the more you wrap the hair and you comb it down, it's going to be more flat, right? Put some
Yes.
serum on the hair, got it a little bit more shiny, wrapped it up. And I said, whenever you guys are about to shoot or roll or whatever the word is, I will comb the wrap down and then you can shoot. And then they were like, her hair's so shiny, like it's so straight. And they're like, and you didn't add any extra heat? I'm like, no. So yeah, that was something that I kind of always talk about that sticks with me. Yeah, we have to advocate for these individuals for sure.
Absolutely. And this just for me personally brings up a whole host of questions. I love this conversation. Thank you for sharing that. Two things. The very first thing that I notice is, and what I appreciate is number one, you speaking up, but also the producer actually listening to what it is that you said, taking heed and said, okay, you know what? Let's course correct. Because another producer could have been like, yeah, whatever. We don't care. She's the model.
It
We
wasn't
need
the
her hair.
producer, it was the actual client,
The
meaning
client, the company.
the brand. It was the
Oh, the
brand.
brand.
Yeah, the producer that she didn't care. She just wanted the hair
Oh,
straight. However, whatever way I got that hair straight, she didn't care. However, the
okay.
brand who hired me and who hired the model, they were the ones that was like, no, we're going to remove her from this individual's chair, put her in Sharita's chair, because they felt like I would give her, I guess, a more care with her natural texture, because that's exactly what, even though I've never straightened hair before for them, because I never like advertised that. But they felt good about it. And now they hired me to straighten hair.
So thank you for that correction. So that was my first point.
Yeah.
My second point is, and I'm, these types of conversations, they can get racial very quickly. But the reason why I'm bringing it up is because we used to call them doobie, or like when you would wrap your hair.
Yes.
You know, we all know that when you wrap your hair, you put a little bit of serum, you comb it down, it's slicked to the gods, however you want to
Yes.
refer to it.
Right.
The individuals that once they saw that, they just didn't know. And to
Right.
me, it's a lack of knowledge with people like you and people like Jennifer Lord who are not on set that can bring the education to get to the desired result without it being detrimental to the hair. Because had you have not spoken up and you allowed that particular stylist to continue, that model's hair could have been fried, and then there's a potential for her not to be hired because her hair is damaged. So like I said, I really appreciate you speaking up and saying something, because
Thank
no
you.
one else on set probably knew. And I'm going to assume that you were the only black person, however you want to refer to it, black person, afro
No,
textured hair, textured
I was
person on
not.
set. You were not.
No.
Was the person okay, let's back up. Was the person doing the stylist hair, was she black?
So the individual who was doing the hair, there was a team.
Okay.
It was just me. I was the one that the brand was flying out from Massachusetts to California, um, by myself. There was already a team that was there that was going to be working on not just this individual. There was multiple models, but again, this was the hero model, the model that was going to be. It was a commercial that was going to be the center of this commercial. And so they had already, it was multiple stylists. I will say that. There was multiple stylists that was working on her.
Okay. When we're talking about commercials and when we're talking about sets, is there a misconception that when a stylist is black, they know how to care for textured hair or afro textured hair? Is that an assumption that people make?
I think so, but I also feel like from the model talent standpoint, there's a little bit more of a safety comfort feeling that we have,
Okay.
right? So it's like if you're the model or the talent and you're sitting in the chair and you see someone who looks like you with hair like you and they're going to be styling your hair, you're automatically going to relax a little bit
Yes.
because you're going to assume that they know what they're doing. So I think yes, from both parts, yes.
Okay. So as you mentioned before, Shark Beauty. And as I mentioned before, you saw that I did a review on the Shark Silky Pro. You have been working on many sets when it comes to Shark Beauty. I'm going to run them down and you can
Yep.
correct me. You can correct me. So we have the Shark Silky Pro. We have the Shark Flex Style. You also did a pop-up in Soho for the Flex Style. You were on set with a model who had albinism. You also were on the Shark Flex Fusion commercial, and then also Shark Speed Style Defrizz Fast. How did this opportunity come about? Did you reach out? Did Shark Beauty reach out? How did this relationship start?
So I wasn't in Soho. The model that I worked on, her image was on the truck.
Okay.
So I wasn't present,
Physically there.
but the model who hair I did, she was on the truck of the at Soho. So it started again, like I said, back in 2021. My client, she worked for Shark Beauty. So there's Shark Ninja, and then there's the beauty side, which is Shark Beauty. And so she was one of the first ones to kind of have a hand into Shark Beauty. I can't recall what her title was, but I remember her coming into the salon and she's like, "Hey, Sharita, we're working on a new blow dryer. Would you be interested in experimenting with the blow dryer?" And I was like, "Sure." I didn't really know what that meant because I had never done that before. But I was like, "Sure, yeah." So at that time, this was their first tool, I believe. It was Hyper Air. So you didn't mention that. Hyper Air was their first tool that they came out with. And that's when I started with her inviting me in.
Okay. And so did you have to like do a video and submit your work, or she just kind of like threw you in there and said, "Hey, this is who we're using."
Yeah. So she would come to me specifically for her curls. And at the time, the blow dryer was more curl focused because of the attachment, which was the diffuser. And so she was looking for someone who was knowledgeable, who had experience working with curly hair, diffusing the hair. And so it just made sense for her as me, her being her hairstylist. She didn't know if I would say yes because I'd never done that before, but I thought it was a great opportunity. And I was like, absolutely.
So take
Especially
me
once
to
I
the
knew what it entails, because at first I had no idea what it was.
so take me to the very first Shark Beauty set. You are the stylist. Can you describe that feeling?
Yeah, it was kind of surreal because I got a chance to see what it's really like behind the scenes. You know, you see all the images on the boxes or the marketing in some of the stores, and you don't really know what goes behind that. So I had a chance firsthand to see that. And for me, it was special because there was a individual who was African American, naturally curly, and the goal was to work on her curls, just her textured hair. We weren't blowing it out or anything. We did do like some braiding to it just to give it some more detail and change up the hairstyle. But just in general, it was really nice to have her on set and for us to connect. And again, she felt really good when she saw me. She saw that my hair was natural. She felt safe. And there was multiple models, but that's the one that kind of makes me, feel a little special.
Okay. So that was your first time. They see your gorgeous and your beautiful work. They call you back, or your client reaches back out and says, "Hey, we want you to come back." Is there a contract? How does it kind of work behind the scenes?
Yeah. So this is going to sound a little strange because
Okay.
for the most part, you have agencies that represent you, right? And so it's like you
As the
are here
stylist, as the brand.
as the stylist, you are a
Okay.
part of an agency. And
Okay.
so they have hair and makeup artists who they would typically reach out to the agency and say, "Hey, we are doing this. We have, this is what we're looking for." And I guess the agency, based off of that, picks somebody from, whoever that's a part of their agency. It was so different for me because I'm not a part of an agency.
Right.
And so this was kind of one of those things where it was kind of individualized kind of experience, if does that make sense? Consulting
Yes, it
based, I
does.
guess. Yeah. So like I'm not, there's like no contract or anything like that for me.
Okay. So just like when we were talking about, because it seems like Shark Beauty is making the effort. we're aware of the Dyson situation, and I'm just going to say, I don't know if you've seen it, but the young lady's hair when she left the salon, it did not look good. There was also a situation with Elf. I know Elf to be a makeup company. They are now beginning to come out with hair care products. Their first hair care product was a pomade. Apparently, they sent all of the PR boxes to women who have straight hair. Some of these women have gone viral and said this is not for our hair. You need to market it towards who it's supposed to be for. In your experience, is it really that brands do not care when it comes to textured or Afro textured hair, or they truly do not know where to start and who to reach out to?
I think it's a little bit of both, honestly.
Okay.
Um, Working with Shark Beauty, because not only am I on set with them, I'm also on their textured advisory board. And what does that mean? So that means that I go into the headquarters. I'm sitting in an office with other members of this textured advisory board, and we're talking with higher ups. Some of them are in the office, some of them are on Zoom. They could be global, China, like all over the place. And they're asking us questions. They want to know, like, okay, Sharita, what do you use? Why are you using it? And I think that is so important because it shows that there is some, you know what I mean? They're looking to learn. They want to know, they want to learn. They're really trying to um give us, and when I say us, speaking of someone with naturally textured hair, give us what we deserve and what we're looking for.
Okay. So it sounds like Shark Beauty is at the forefront because, as I said, given the viral situation with Dyson, it's more so we will sell you the product, we will sell you the tool, but you should not expect us to know how to use it
Oh,
on your textured hair.
no way. Yeah, we when they call us into Shark Ninja, when they call us into the office, we're doing testing on strain on hair and textured hair, and we're having many conversations. And the goal is to get it right. And so when you see the tool that you were showing, um, we worked on that, meaning we were trying to get the comb size right. We are making sure it wasn't snagging the hair because there's the flat iron and there's the chasing comb method, and making sure it was like just perfect. And so like they're very intentional about that. And to be fair, I'm not
So
like an
what I'm hearing,
employee of the
uh-huh.
brand. This is just something that I
Oh
do
no, absolutely.
consulting basis. And it's just, I'm just being honest.
No, I love that. Now, the Texture Advisory Board, was that something that you were able to be on kind of like once you showed your work and they knew what you were doing? Did you have to apply? I personally find that fascinating. I love it, but I find it so fascinating. I think that that is a step towards in the right direction.
So, I true story is originally I was not supposed to be on the texture advisory board. But based off of my
Oh,
relationship and
okay.
my work on set, they actually reached out to me and said, "We want you in the room." And it was kind of like very last minute. I think they had already formed the team. And this individual who's a higher up, a Black woman, and she's like, Sharita, you need to be in that room. And yeah, and so that's how I became a part of the texture advisory board.
Let's say y'all are having a meeting, you're on the texture advisory board and the higher ups, and there is something that concerns you or you don't think would be beneficial to someone with textured hair. You speak up. Are your concerns heard or are they kind of like pushed to the side? Or
That's
do you
a
kind of
great
like go
question.
back to the drawing board?
Yeah, sometimes I think at the end of the day, remember I said it starts from the top up, right? And regardless of what we say or what we share, it's one element of the whole piece, right? And so I do think that while they're listening, they don't always take the feedback that we give them.
Even though it could be beneficial to the customer.
Yeah, but I think it's more too about like the language or how we would say certain things or how we would market it, right? So like if
Okay.
without giving too much detail, like we might say, okay, we wouldn't really say it like this. Like I would say it this way. But at the end of the day, like they have the, they're going to make that decision based off of whatever. I don't know. But yeah, so they don't always take everything into consideration. But I do feel like for the most part, when it comes to the hair and not compromising the integrity of our hair, I think that's important to them for sure.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is value. For all intents and purposes, it seems as though that Shark Beauty values your input and values the client that has textured hair.
Based off of my experience and based off of them flying me out to California and calling me into the advisory board, I'm going to say yes, 100%.
I love that. I do hope that there are other companies out there that will follow suit. So, you also do community outreach, and let me go on here, which I love, and I especially love one of them. So, there is Boston Boys and Girls Club, there is the YMCA, you also do community outreach for schools, and then you do Daddy and Me. Now, I can remember when I was younger, maybe my mother would be out of town, for a business trip. I can remember sitting in between my father's legs or just sitting in the bathroom and him braiding my hair. Why did you do the Daddy and Me? I saw the video, absolutely adorable.
Thank
Cuteness
you.
overload. Why Daddy and Me?
So that was the first for us. So we typically have
Okay.
curl parties where we have the mom and the child. They come and we celebrate their textured hair. We literally have a party. We have balloons, we have cake, there's education, we do demos, we help them also work on their hair. We answer questions for the parents on how to properly hydrate, how to help style their hair. And so we've done those. But normally the dad really isn't like a part of it. And so because it was Father's Day, and also one of my friends, to be also fair, she mentioned it. She's like, hey, you should do this. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And so we put it out there and we got a good response. And it was cute because one of the dads, he actually said he saw it. And he was like, oh, I'm going to sign my daughter up for this. Because some of the other dads, it was their wives signing them up. And they're like, okay, I'll go. But he found it and he was like, I'm going to show up with my daughter. And so I thought that was really cute.
I love that. So, why is community outreach and education important to you? Like you said, or like I said, with the YMCA, the schools, and the Boston and Boys and Girls Club.
So for me, I just feel like it's really the heart of everything that I do. When I think about me growing up, my mom didn't have a whole lot of things. I've never been to the hair salon as a child. I was a part of the Boys and Girls Club. So we would do those things. But I feel like when it comes to hair, especially textured hair, it's it's my heart, it's my passion, and I just feel like if I'm able to share this with individuals in our community, why not? Especially younger versions of myself. I know how passionate I was about hair in general. And if there was something like this for me, I would have been totally involved or pushing, mommy, 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 sign me up, And so it's just the heart of everything that I do. I just feel like community is very important to me. And yeah, however I can share the passions and the gifts that I have, I'm doing it.
I love that. And I 100% agree with you. I think the younger we get our girls to love and embrace their natural hair, they will grow up with that and they will not be searching for a certain aesthetic or a certain look. And they will feel beautiful just the way that they are.
Absolutely.
And also, another component to your business is Texture Takes the Stage. And I saw Karen Parsons was a part of this as well. What is this and who is it for?
So Texture Takes the Stage it's like my baby. It's very dear to my heart. So it is definitely community based. It is a platform where we celebrate textured hair, where we come together and we highlight the people behind textured hair. And we celebrate by having a hair show, even though the hair show is not just what it's about. That's one element and aspect of it. But we also have campaigns. We also have people come together and pour into individuals who need to feel valued and feel seen. And originally, when we created Texture Takes the Stage, I knew that it would be more than a show, but I didn't know that it would have the impact that it has right now. And when I say the impact, is because there's so many people that are a part of the behind the scenes, right? We have some amazing textured hairstylists, just hairstylists in general, makeup artists, photographers, wardrobe stylists. All of them were a part of the show, and they're still a part of the movement. And so we did Texture Takes the Stage, the show. Then we did her glam season, where we brought some of those same hairstylists, makeup artists together, poured into individuals who were having a very, very difficult season. And we just said, come, feel the love. We did hair, makeup. We had professional photos for them. Shark Beauty donated tools for them. We had other brands help. And so that's another part of Texture Takes the Stage, but it's also putting the spotlight again on the people who work behind the textured hair industry.
Do y'all have a show coming up or an exhibition coming up soon?
We have a show coming up October 17th. Tickets will be live soon. They're not live yet, but we're working on the details. We're working on a special campaign. I don't know if you want me to share that at the end.
Oh, you can share it
Um,
right now. What is it?
okay. So the campaign that we're working on is called Too Much. And this is going to transition us right into Texture Takes the Stage. And so Too Much is pretty much taken those labels and the narratives that others have thrown at us and defined for us, that our hair is too much, too big, too tight, too wild, right? It's like my hair is wild, but it's free. Like, this is how I love it. Your hair is too big, but it's big. It's like, I love voluminous hair. Like, I'm embracing that. So taking those words and making them positive. So we've had the joy and the honor to work with Jessica Martinez for this project. And we're going to be launching the photos August 5th. So again, it'll be a segue going into Texture Takes the Stage.
Okay, so it will be Too Much first and then Texture Takes the Stage.
The campaign is just awareness,
Okay.
but it will be a segment in Texture Takes the Stage as well. So like these photos will be a part of Texture Takes the Stage.
Okay. And as far as the models are concerned, because I've seen the glorious hairstyles, when it comes to the stylist and the inspiration, where does it come from? Do y'all sit down and kind of sketch? Where do the glorious hairstyles come from?
That's a great question. So the first show last year, which was our first show, we pretty much just told them to come from the heart, be creative. We didn't put any limitations. And I think that was very, the feedback that we received from them, they love that, because sometimes when you're working on set or if you're working on special projects, you have to do it a specific way.
Yes.
We just said we want big, we want bold, we want avant-garde. Like, it needs to be eye-catching, right? And so one of the individuals, Jessica, her mom had passed away, and the show was going to be on the anniversary of her mom's passing. And her mom's, I either believe her mom's name was Rose or she loved roses. And so her inspiration was that. So she did a bouquet of red roses on her model's hair. And so it was so beautiful and touching just to have her share that experience. But yeah, it was really what they wanted to do. It was from the heart.
And of course, I will leave all of this in the description box. You said that that is coming out in October.
October 17th.
Okay. All right, Sharita, we are coming to the end of our conversation. I do sometimes
No,
like to
we're
do
too
the rapid
quick.
fire questions. Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. Favorite hair care products?
That's hard. I know this is like a fire rapid because
You're
I'm a
fine.
hairstylist, right? So I'm going to talk from
Run them
me.
down.
Right. I'm going to just talk from me, not as a hairstylist, because I have so many different favorites that I work with on my clients. Actually, one of my friends came out with her new product. It's called
Okay.
Granular. It's a gel, obsessed with it. I've been using it probably for the last like 2 years. So before she just came out a couple of months ago, but I've been using it before that. So I'm obsessed with that. I love the dew. I'm always a fan of a mousse, and I'm definitely a fan of the honey foam and just mousse stuff. Yes.
I believe I have tried that. Okay. Craziest hairstyle or color that you've tried?
Ooh, craziest hairstyle. I'm gonna say back in high school, there was some crazy hairstyles that I used to do. I've done so many hair shows, and actually, I had a ponytail that was rotted and it had lime green hair in it. Yeah, I've done all of the things.
Okay. Favorite Shark beauty set?
Oh, I love Flex Style because of all the attachments. It has a great comb attachment. That's one of my favorites. But I love the new one that came out, the Silky Pro. I think that's probably my favorite now because I do a lot of blow drying right now, and so I'm using that attachment, and it's very gentle.
Okay. So you said that was your favorite set, and I was getting ready to ask what's your favorite product,
Yes,
but
sorry.
no, you're fine. A favorite Shark product is the Shark Silky Pro?
Yes.
Okay. And lastly, who is your dream client?
Ooh.
If you have more than one, that's fine.
It's funny you say who was my dream client because I recall having a dream. This was in the beginning, before I even opened my salon, that I had the privilege in my dream to style Michelle Obama. And I remember sharing it with my husband. And at the time, we lived in Plymouth, which is literally maybe like 20 minutes from the Cape. He was like, "Well, Sharita's not that far fetched. They do travel to the Cape often. So you never know." Definitely Michelle Obama. Oprah too. Like I would love just natural, pour some love and TLC into their natural hair.
Okay, so Michelle Obama and Oprah. I love that. So, like I said before, Sharita, we are coming to the end of our conversation. I absolutely love the Shark Beauty portion. Please let people know where they can follow and support you, and if you have anything coming up.
Yes, thank you so much. So they can follow me on Instagram at the Loft Medford. I am on there pretty active. Also, at Texture Takes the Stage. Can follow me on there. We have something special that we're working on. It's called Texture Talks. This is a traveling conversation where we're going to be going to salons, specifically salons focused on textured hair that have a love and care for textured hair in the community within textured hair. And we're going to be having some conversations around the industry, clients' concerns, just connecting. And our first stop is going to be in Philadelphia at Wash Day Salon. So I'm giving the tea. I haven't shared this yet, so I'm sharing it here first.
Y'all listen
With
up.
Tori. Yep, Texture Talks. We're gonna be traveling.
I love that. And I'm glad that you said that because just from a personal perspective, I think we can overcome this, but I do think that right now in our community, there is a disconnect between client and stylist.
Absolutely.
We've all heard, excuse me, the natural hair horror stories. We've heard all of that, but I love the premise of your show. You said that your first stop is Philadelphia. Are you coming to Atlanta or Charlotte?
I am. I would love to be coming to everywhere, honestly, every city. But Atlanta is definitely at one of the tops for sure.
Okay.
So hopefully you'll be there.
Listen, I mean, I'm in Charlotte, but if you tell me the date and you want to have a conversation, I can come to
Okay.
Atlanta now. I'm only 4 hours
Okay.
away.
Yes. Okay. We'll have
Okay.
to make that happen.
Oh, absolutely. Just let me know. We can talk about that off camera.
Yes.
But Sharita, like I said before, thank you so much. All of your information will be down below. Is there anything else that you want to discuss or let people know about?
I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to have you, right, share the platform that you have. You do such an
Thank you.
amazing job. And I'm not even one to be like on YouTube. I'm a mom of five. My husband's a pastor, right? I have a
Okay.
lot going on. And so like I'm
Yes.
kind of like, lurking a little bit. And I stumbled across your page and I'm like, I love her. I love
Thank
everything
you.
that you share. And
Thank
so
you.
keep doing what you're doing. Like breath of fresh air to our community. And yeah, I'm just grateful to just be here and to share everything that God has given me to share in this season.
Thank you so much, Sharita. So if there is nothing else, I'm going to say good afternoon to you and bye to the community. Bye.